Hi, this is the first video in a number of videos on polynomials. It starts with the basics, so let's get started. All right, so with our vocabulary, we have the word poly, which means many, and nomial, which means name. And there are some vocabulary words and names here that you have to learn to make life easier. So when your instructor or somebody else is talking about, well, the exponent and the coefficient and stuff like that, you know what they're talking about. Let's flip over here to this nice big 3x to the fifth. So the x is your variable. Not doing it in any particular order. And the reason those are called variables is today x might stand for 6, and next week it might be x is equal to 3, and some other day it might be the square root of 2. So it changes all the time. And in math, we represent those by letters. Often it's x, but it can be any letter that you want. You could even be crazy and use some kind of stars or symbols. The 5 here, this is the exponent. And exponents refer to multiplication, so this part represents x times x times x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. But instead of having to write that all the time, you can use the 5. And the 5 tells you, the exponent tells you how many times to write it. And this part's called the base, and it tells you what you're going to write. Now this out here is the coefficient. And that tells you how many of these x to the fifths you're going to add together. That is a different video. You should watch it. It is... Actually, it's the next video in this series. So I'm not going to get into it too much. Right now, what you need to know, and this is a terrible thing to write, but honestly, that's what you need to remember. You're talking about the coefficient, it's the big number out front. The variable is the letter. Any one will do. The exponent is a small number on top. And a constant, I didn't put it in this picture, it's just a plain number. So if I write 3x to the fifth plus 7, there's your constant. And it's called a constant because it's always equal to 7, right? 7 is equal to 7. Whereas this x up here, today it's 2, tomorrow it's 3. It changes all the time. 7 is still 7. So polynomials are made for different terms, and the terms are separated by a plus or a minus. So there's one term here, I'm going to circle it, and another term there. And this one that I just wrote here would be called a binomial because there's 2 parts. Up here, this would be considered to be a monomial because there's only 1 part. Let's do some more examples. Again, you got to know this vocabulary, otherwise you're just going to be lost when your instructor starts talking about it. And it's not that complicated. You just need to take the time and learn. All right, so monomials are made up of 1 term. It can be as simple as 5x or minus 12k to the 4th, 0.25 r3t. I don't know, it's just 1 thing. That's it, done, 1 term. Binomials are 2 terms. Here's my first term, here's my second term, here's my first term, here's my second term. 2 parts. Okay, and they were separated, although you can't see it because I wrote all over them, by either a minus, well, I guess we'll get some that have pluses. 3 terms, maybe I'll underline, there's 1 term, and 2 term, 3 term. And they can have exponents, they can have coefficients, they can be just plain variables. They can be in descent. This is called descending order. And it's descending because my biggest exponent is at the back. Normally, you write the biggest one at the front, but I just wanted to give you an exciting variety of trinomials. Okay? And now, polynomial is kind of a cheat word. This whole section is polynomials, but basically we kind of got lazy or at least I think mathematicians got lazy, that you had 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms. Good enough. Anything after that, 4 terms or more, we just call a polynomial in general. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. There's 4 terms there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I guess that would be a hexanomial, but nobody ever says that. You just get lazy and just, it's a polynomial. All right, so then there's this list down here. And what we want to do is sort this list into these boxes. Turn off the video. Seriously, it's not that exciting to watch me do this. Turn off the video, do it yourself, turn it back on, and make sure you have the same answers that I do. It's simple. But seriously, turn it off. Don't just sit here and watch me do it. All right, so monomial is 1 term. Not really sure the easiest way to do this. I'm going to go through it, and I'm just going to look at all the monomials. 1 term, nothing else. 16G. There's 1 term. No. Oh, there's one. Minus 9GHT. So you could have a whole bunch more variables after that. It doesn't matter. You can have just a variable. And there's another one. 56RT. That was not hard. Naming them is not that hard. It just shows up on a test. Think of it as a gift, as nice, easy marks. Now, we want 2 terms. So you can have 1 and 2. And they'll be separated by either a plus or a minus. So 2x plus 5y. Where's another one? There's one. And it can be 13 minus t. They don't both have to have variables, and sometimes the number comes in front. Whatever. And there's one more. Minus 6b minus 3c. All right. You getting this? It's not hard. Trinomials, 3 terms. Okay? 1 term, 2 term, 3 term. And technically, that sign goes with the term that comes right after it. That's not important. 8, not right now. M squared minus 7, n minus 5. Okay, we got another one here. 12 minus 2y plus 4x. Look at that one. Ax squared plus bx plus c. When we do quadratics, you will see that so much when we're talking about the quadratic formula. And nope, that's too many. So then what are we left with? There's that one. 7r minus 5t minus 2y plus 3z. Okay, so that's got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 6b cubed minus 12b squared plus 6b minus 15. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta-da! That is it. That is the main part about being able to name them. So, what do you need to know for sure? You need to know the coefficient, big number out front. Variable is another word for the letter. And exponent is how many times you're going to write this out. This stuff with the naming often comes in later when we talk about multiplication or division, and the question will be, do binomial multiplication. Well, you got to know that means going to be 2 terms times 2 terms. Or you might say a monomial divided, backwards. A monomial times a binomial. So you need to understand what this word means so that you don't get scared. Math is not scary. Math is fun.